Mary, can you give me a summary of this book that you're presenting for this video project?
Sure, Kenny. Yeah, I'd love to. Okay, so it's a book written by Boethius, and Boethius writes the book. It's these 5 short books called The Consolation of Philosophy. And let me give you a little bit about the background on Boethius and what the books are about. Basically, this book is written, it's kind of like, the genre is a mix between, it's like a story about himself and autobiography, and also it's otherworldly. Okay, so let me explain. Right, so Boethius lives at the time of the fall of the Roman Empire, in the early medieval period. And he's in a circumstance where he was consul to the king, just after the fall of the Roman Empire, and everybody's scrambling. So what happens is he's in this like Senate hearing, or they're discussing this other person. They're all really worried that he's going to take over the government. And Boethius, being a philosopher, a very wise, educated man, just makes a statement which is kind of really innocent. And right, so what happens is these guys are talking about this other ruler in this other country, and all kind of nervous that he's trying to take over power. And they say, well, he's guilty of treason. And what Boethius does is he just says something like, well, if he's guilty of treason, we're all guilty of treason. And just by that simple thing, it was just like common sense thing he said, they took that out of context, and he said, well, if you're saying that, Boethius then didn't, you are guilty of treason, and he gets found guilty and sentenced to death. This very wise, educated man who was purely acting out of just duty, like serving the king. He was a happy man. He had a beautiful family, 2 sons, a wife, and very happy. And he was just happy, like writing philosophy all day. His job was to translate all of the famous philosophers from the Roman Empire, like Plato, Aristotle, and to carry all that information. He was very educated. He could speak Roman, Latin, Greek. This was unheard of at the time, whereas all of those people had went with the Roman Empire. This guy now, Boethius, coming into this early medieval period, is the only one who really has those abilities. So he would be the one person who could translate all that very important philosophy to carry through the ages. So here's Boethius. He's sentenced to death. He's in prison. What does he do? How does he deal with these questions that he has to ask are amazing. So his whole life's work to reason and make sense of things, he has to scramble to make sense of and cope with his own circumstances. Shocking as it was, like, how could I one day be this man happy doing this, and I was doing this dutiful thing by King Theodoric, and here I am on the other side, and he's asking these questions like, wow, like, I'm a good person. I was a good person. How can I cope with this? Now he forgets all the answers to the questions that his job was, writing down philosophy, making sense of human nature and why things happen, but he himself is struggling because now it's him. And he's saying, well, why do bad things happen to good people? Why is it that evil people that are doing wrong are able to get away with doing that? And what is like, I was happy, and now they're happy, and they're getting to do whatever they want. Well, we're going to talk about that more in the next section when we talk about society and values and morals. I don't want to get too far away from that, but right now. But it's just basically, Boethius is in shock. He's coping, and at any minute somebody could walk in and take him to the death chamber or wherever they're going to take him, and he's lost everything. He had a good life, and why? Like, he's just asking that big question we all ask this when we're in shock and losing our life, if we were. Why? Like, how could this happen? And so what he does is he visits himself. He imagines these women are there, which was common in literature at the time. These women were going to sit there and they're going to comfort him. They're called the muses. And he creates this like second person. He's the first person. He creates this other person, this this imaginary figure, which becomes to him the representation of everything that philosophy is. And he calls her Lady Philosophy. And he acts like he's being visited by this personification of his life's work, which is philosophy. This is how he's going to make sense of the questions that he has to ask about society. And